The new this is a Totollan Seekers, and they will actually have a turtle pet if you're interested. And this is so here are the few games that we have here. We have a shell game, which from what I can tell is this seems like a memory game. Then we have a beachhead, which is your typical kind of vehicle launcher thing, which I'm not the hugest fan of, because I've known them to be a problem in the past. But I will agree with what Crimson's been saying, where they are notably different from sort of other World Quests we've seen. Do you think that the Tortolians are going to become a allied race?
My honest opinion, I highly doubt it.
Any particular reason?
Just if you're thinking about it from like a Mog perspective, like it's a little bit trickier to like do stuff involving like Mogs and stuff like that with them. I
Yeah.
think that there'll just be a faction, kind of like the Walrus people were in Northrend
Yeah, I can
Wrath.
kind of understand that. Yeah, a lot of people are thinking that they might be, but I can understand where your sort of point of view is. Whereas something like a Valpirin, they're already able to use any Mog because they use the same skeleton as Goblin. This would require them to basically completely make a new sort of Mog protocol, and that's not really something that they might be chasing after.
Yeah, would just eat up a lot of resources and stuff,
Mhm.
whereas they can use it for other areas.
Yeah, Crimson, have you ever been a guild master, or I know you've been an officer, but have you ever been a guild master?
Never been a guild master, been an officer in many guilds, almost every guild I've been in.
Yeah, I used to be a guild master. I used to run a rather large gold farm. I mean, social guild, and in that I learned how terrible the guild master UI is. It's completely outdated, especially with as other stuff is advanced. They've just been kind of not paying attention to that. Now I understand that because maybe 1% to 3% of the player population will ever do anything with the Guildmaster works or the Guildmaster UI. So it makes sense to not really work on it. But luckily, because they're adding the community feature, they're also for us updating the Guildmaster UI. And I think it's looking like the basic guild UI is going to look a lot the same. However, they're going to basically add a much better sort of guild search UI for the guild find. Uh, and they're going to be adding this with their community feature. Now, have you heard anything about the community feature, Crimson? What are your thoughts on it so far?
I think anything that they can do in order to like help out as far as like people trying to find guilds that actually suit them,
Yeah,
and uh, in inverse help guilds that are struggling on attendance. To help them find people is always good. There is only one annoyance that I have with like some guilds, and it has nothing to do with the UI, and that is the spam invites. It's just like,
yeah,
and there's add-ons that do that
yeah.
too. Like
The add-on that people use is Super Guild Invite, and it is terrible to deal with.
I I think that is how you breed a toxic guild A and B. It's
Oh, for
just
sure.
when I make a brand new character and I'm like, hey, can you throw me a guild invite
Yeah,
to guild, and then by the time I type, "Hey, can you give me a guild
you'll get
invite?"
like 20
from
guild
as
invites.
soon as I like first time logging in, I'm already getting a guild invite at the same time that I'm asking. So I actually have to like pay attention to stuff like that.
Yeah, and the new guild UI actually looks very interesting. It's usually you have to sort of sort it, and you still will be able to sort it, but it seems like you're going to be able to more clearly see a lot of the features sort of together instead of just being able to sort it for like class or whatever. And this seems very nice. Another thing of interest is the guilds are going to share the same sort of grouping as the community feature, which the community feature is sort of WoW's Discord kind of thing that they're trying to build. And the idea is, let's say, Crimson, for example, you have a group that you tend to run Mythic Pluses with, and every now and then you'll do some raids for like Mythic achievements or whatever. The idea is that you'll now be able to create a little community with them so that you can more easily group up and communicate as a group. My only worry about this is to slowly see this begin to creep and take over the idea of a guild, which would, in my idea, be a very bad thing because I think guilds are such a core of what World of Warcraft is. And of course, the only reason that I'm worried about this is because they're now positioning them basically in the exact same spot. What are your thoughts on that, Crimson? Are you worried about communities slowly degrading the foundation of guilds?
I don't think that it will degrade the foundation of guilds. I think that, especially guilds that are doing mythic and stuff, that are you have to play same server and stuff like that when it's current content before they open it up to like cross realm.
Oh, that is a good point.
Like
These
stuff like
communities
that is
will be
still
cross
gonna.
realm. Uh,
But even right now, like I run Mythic Plus with people on other servers on a regular basis, especially if I'm pushing like high keys like plus 21s, plus 22s, then
yeah.
I've got my groups that I do that with.
And do you think you're going to use this feature frequently or no?
Actually think that I will, as
Yeah,
far as just
I can see that.
setting up things to, hey, y'all want to get together and do this, and say people log on to like alts and stuff. If it's like BNet friendly, then you can just go, bam, invite this usual group, and they're all on alts and we're
Yeah,
doing something.
my only reason why I may not use this is just because I am a person. I'm a very much down to earth, guildy kind of guy. I spend most of my time and do most of my extracurriculars with my guildies, and part of that is because I don't do them on a very serious level. But I don't think I'm gonna use this a ton, but it's gonna be an interesting feature. I'm really interested to see if this will allow cross faction communication, because that's something that people have been wanting for a while. I think that they might shy away from that just given the tone of the expansion, but we'll see. We'll have to see. Uh, Also, they're going to be adding new perks tab and info that will allow you to see stuff more clearly. Basically, they're just expanding what was once a very thin piece of UI to a thicker piece of UI. So it should really just make stuff easier. Now, you know what else makes stuff easier and also make things look great in the process? New spell animations. Crimson, have you heard they recently they've been doing a lot of new spell animations. They've done an outlaw one. They've also done a hunter one. But today we're going to be looking at some of the Battle for Azeroth green fire spells for Warlock. Now of interest, you still will have to do the green fire quest line to unlock the green fire animations. However, they've updated them as well, which I think is a nice touch. Let's just watch some of these. Yeah, the immolated attacks multiple targets. I like all these, honestly.
Yeah, I'm a fan too. Like I said, and I think I said it last episode. Anything that they can do to kind of update like animations and stuff like that for people, like I think that's a fantastic. Because I know in Legion they did a lot with a lot of groups, and they couldn't do it all at once because it's such a huge workload. But they did some here, some there. I know,
Yeah.
like when the new Shadow Priest animations hit in Legion, for example, I was like, man, these look awesome.
Yeah,
So
and the thing that's of note here, I guess, is that these are only for people with the green fire sort of item that you get for doing the quest line, which I really like that they're supporting that, because in my eyes that shows that they really do care about about warlocks, because that's doing animations for such a small like section of the community, which I really appreciate.
oh yeah, I completely agree with you on that, and I know, and it might actually get more people going back to Mist Pandaria to
Yeah,
go and get the Green Fire quest.
which,
I
by the
mean,
way, if you want to
I'm
make some good gold, if you can get your hands on some of the starter items for the Greenfire quests, they're not that hard. You have to farm some stuff in Throne of Thunder. Those go for a penny on the auction house, I'll tell you that much.
yeah, no, I'll probably be going back when after I level my Warlock and get my class mounts on it and grabbing the Green Fire quest line.
Yeah, and I actually don't know if it's still hard to do. I remember when it was current, it was hard to do for a while until such a point in which people kind of outgeared a little bit. Although it was near the end of the expansion, if memory serves. But I like this. And Crimson, do you know what else I like? The changes.
Take it you like the new Holy Priest changes.
Mind Reader. Yes, I like the changes to Apotheosis. Now, essentially, what they're doing is a buff. The idea is that they're now increasing the duration of Apotheosis to 30 seconds, which is a sort of a slight decrease, but it's fine. But they're also reducing the cooldown on it, on the Holy Word, by much more. So basically, it's going to make it much. So you're going to be able to get it off more, even though it's going to last for less time. And I think this is going to be a positive change. Now, I only use Apotheosis in Mythic Plus, which is where most people use it. And the real benefit of this is that with a 2-minute cooldown, you're going to be able to get this off on a lot of trash packs, every boss, and like I can't really think of a situation where you wouldn't be able to use this on a boss or whenever you need it. And the reduced time on it doesn't really matter much when you're getting so much more throughput of it as an increase. Now, just for those who don't know and who aren't aware, what Apotheosis does is it increases your Serendipity proc chance, and basically makes it so that whenever you cast your flash heals or any abilities that will proc Serendipity, they'll decrease the time on your holy words by much more. And they're basically buffing how much you're going to decrease the time on your holy word. So you're going to be able to get your holy word Sanctify, which is your AoE, and your holy word Serenity off very frequently with these up now.
And speaking of dungeons and with the Apotheosis changes, did you hear about what's going on at BlizzCon?
You know what, Crimson, I did. I heard about the fact that the Mythic Dungeon Invitational All Stars are going to have a whole final at BlizzCon.
Will you be watching that, Dad?
You know what? I've been lampooned occasionally because, despite my enjoyment of WoW news, I'm not much of a MDI watcher. But I think I'm gonna have to watch the BlizzCon one just because I'm. Neither me or Crimson are going to BlizzCon, but I know I'm planning on at least getting the virtual ticket, so that we can report on it. I don't know if Crimson is, but
I will definitely be getting the virtual
exactly
ticket.
with the virtual ticket, I'm gonna definitely be watching it, and it will be something interesting to watch. I think I usually watch the PvP at BlizzCon too, even though I don't really watch PvP otherwise. Something about the BlizzCon era kind of makes me very excited for it. You're a big MDI guy though, right, Crimson?
I do try to catch it. I don't always watch it or have time to watch it, but I do try to watch it as much as I can to kind of pick up strats and stuff like that.
Do you have a team you're rooting for?
Not particularly. I just enjoy watching a higher level of gameplay and seeing the unique strats from each team.
Yeah, and of course,
I know a lot of people are voting, or that I do watch it, that I hang around or going for method.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Maybe that's just because I do follow the mythic races, the mythic raid races, and method are always sort of the people I root for there. I'm interested though. I'm definitely going to be watching it at least at BlizzCon. And I think it's very nice that Blizzard is supporting this so much, especially to have something like a live event like this. But you know what else is live and lively, Crimson? Boralus. The answer is Boralus. He was actually going to get it, but I feel like I got to cut him to the chase here. We have some more Boralus updates. Now, I just want to say, I know a lot of people at the start, they're all like, oh, Zandalzar gets way more. Why is Horde favoritism? Why does Horde get everything? But I'm going to tell you what. We've been talking about Boralus updates just about every single week for the past 4 to 5 weeks, for the past while. But I have not heard anything about Zandalzar except for some lowly rumors about it being a raid. So all I'm saying is that clearly if there's any favoritism going for the capital cities, it's to Alliance. But we got some much needed things, like a nice bank where you can do your banking thing.
See, and that's why, like, I'm a fan of waiting until something comes out before, like, putting my personal opinion on it because it's not going to be complete, especially when it's still so early in the makings. Now it is getting closer to BFA launch, so once it actually hits, that's when you can just throw out that favoritism stuff. Say, oh, Alliance got the good deal on this, or Horde.
But look, we have a cafe with some waiters. Would you like to have a nice cafe day with me, Crimson? We might have to go Alliance for this, so.
I'm actually going to level an Alliance too.
Yeah, I think I will too, actually, just for the varied quest lines. But I'm very interested. And the capital city is not detracting me either.
I'm definitely wanting some of the Alliance specific toys and pets and mounts and stuff. Um, I saw one, and it will be later in the show, but the Vicious saddle mount for Alliance is amazing.
Yeah. In fact, natural segue there. We have the Vicious War Beast, the War River Beast, which is the vicious mount that Ro was talking about. And I'll give him to him. This thing does have a certain beauty to it.
Well, my favorite animal just so happens to be a hippo, so I don't have a single vicious mount at the moment, but I will level in Alliance Tune just to get that one.
So is this going to be the one you pick?
Oh, with ease. Like, no problem. There's not even a choice there.
Yeah, I think this is a very nice mount. I have to really give it to him. The last time I can even think about when they've given us something close to a vicious, to a hippo, they used to give us river beasts in Warlords of Draenor. If you were to do the stable area, I don't know if you remember that, Crimson.
Yep, I have it.
Yeah, that's the only one I can think that's close to that. But yeah, it's definitely very interesting. They even mentioned it here. It's definitely very interesting to see another hippopotamus, and this guy is decked out. I really like how they did the armor on this guy. You know, the way that they add armor pieces to vicious mounts are always an interesting thing, but I really like the armor on this guy. And you know, Crimson, if you go a lion, you know what else you're gonna have to contend with? The burning of Teldrassil. We burned that bitch down. We put some lighter fluid on it. Real sad. After you burn Teldrassil, or I guess if you're Alliance, you don't burn Teldrassil, the area of Darkshore around Teldrassil is going to be getting a ton of world quests. And basically the world quests are going to go from sort of reporting about the thing and talking to people to sort of assembling some forces, killing some orcs, and it looks like a ton of fun. You know,
I do like the fact that they are putting stuff back in the old world and getting people to go and see it.
Yeah, because I can't think about the last time that I went to Darkshore. Because I don't even level there anymore because it's kind of off the beaten path a little bit.
The last time I went to Darkshore was on my way to the Exodar area to help someone get the a moth pet for their hunter.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Darkshore is pretty dead at the moment, and it'll be even more dead afterwards. However, we're going to bring it new life with the next expansion. So, you know, full circle. Speaking about full circle, you know what can fly in circles, Crimson?
Those new sick gladiator proto drakes.
Yeah, we have a ton of different color schemes.
I don't know if you're a fan of the proto drakes or not, but I think they look pretty good.
I gotta say, yeah. The only proto drake that I think I have would have to be the one from Wrath. I don't have any recent proto drakes. I'm not really a PvPer, but they really made this thing look bad. I mean, it has some. Look at them chompers. The great armor plate, very rustic. And of course, this will be able to fly. Although, do I even have to say that for this one?
I honestly wish that I was good enough at PvP to be a gladiator to get one of these, but I am not that great at PvP.
Yeah,
The
this is one of the
vicious is in
things
my
you look at
ability, but
lustfully. Which one would you pick? What color scheme?
if I had to pick any, I would pick the green one just because green's my favorite color.
I dig that. I'd probably have to go with the Dread Gladiator Proto Drake or the purple one. They're both very cool color schemes.
Yeah,
Now,
the purple one does look really good.
do you know what else looks really good? The new Vicryl helms, as well as some other transmog items we've gotten. We have Vicryl helms of several different makes, and I'm assuming we're probably going to be getting this from the Storm Zone, or the zone with the name Storm in it, in BFA.
Yeah, I think they did a good job on it.
Yeah.
I will probably never rock that candle on the head though.
Oh yeah,
Although that's a toy,
that is a new toy. It's a cosmetic
but it's
cobalt
also
item.
got a cosmetic helm.
Yeah. Oh, but Crimson, I think somebody in Blizzard watches the show because last week we were discussing how you want to do a save the cooking transmog contest for when you can get that honey staff. You can do that, Crimson. In fact, I let you claim that staff, but I'm using this fish weapon. I
So you'll get the fish. I'll get this
the
honey
honey staff,
staff.
and this is awesome. I love this. I'm really hoping that has something to do with have something to do with fishing, like you actually have to fish it up. But this is honestly like one of the coolest one-handed maces I know.
Yeah, I think that would be a pretty cool item that especially if it's like fishing. I think
Yeah,
it
I
should
hope it
definitely go
is.
with fishing.
I hope it is too, because that it makes sense. Now, if you look at this sexy pig beast and you're like, I want to be this, lucky you. There is a new recipe for the Heartsbane Hexwurst, which is kind of a bratwurst joke, that turns you into one of these lovely creatures for a like 20 minutes, something like that. And you get it from Gluttonous in the Waycrest Manor. And now I could talk about the toys, but I know that's kind of Crimson's area. Which of these toys do you think is most interesting? The siege tower or the war machine?
I like the little siege towers.
I get
Although
that.
those look like pets to me. The
Well,
siege.
no.
I'm
There's
saying
this thing.
two different things.
Yeah, there's the pets, and then there's the toys. The toys allow you to
Oh,
get a controllable one, kind of like the Dark Moon Fair game. Well, the
I think
pets are
that
the pets in themselves.
the tower just seems kind of like a tower, like playing tower defense.
Yeah,
The machine seems kind of like it would be some kind of tank.
yeah. I'd imagine. I
So,
assume it's gonna be better. Plus, it's horde. Of course, we're gonna be getting the relearn books that if you choose to lose some sort of if you choose to get rid of enchanting or whatever, that we've had these for a while.
something to note with the professions after that. Sorry to cut you off. There's gonna be like a new Goblin glider
Mhm.
coming out, and the I'm curious on whether or not they'll put like zone restrictions on the old Goblin gliders because I know a lot of people use them at the start of an Nets pack, so
Yeah,
like the start of Legion to
I am a little bit worried about that.
sell. So are they gonna like? Oh, you can only use Goblin gliders and Saber and Draenor in Draenor. Because if so, that's gonna piss a lot of people
Yeah,
off
and
that we're gonna sell them.
I'm also gonna wonder because as a engineer on basically all of my max level characters, I use the Tinker from Mista Pandaria to tinker a Goblin glider onto my cloak, so that I get a free Goblin glider where I don't need to actually use an item. Um, and I'm kind of wondering. I hope that the Goblin glider thing doesn't affect that too. Now, this may just be that they're adding a new Goblin glider, and maybe we'll have and they just wanted it to be tied to the zone or something, but we'll see. This also actually interesting. If you remember in Warlords of Draenor how they had Goblin Glider launch points with Goblin Gliders on the ground that you can click on, there's actually a decent chance that this might be there. Like you go to this area and you click on something and it gives you one of these and you use it. So this might be something where like this might be setting up a sort of Goblin Glider flying game or whatever.
I'm fine with like a Goblin Glider flying game, but I still think it will be a something for engineering to make.
Yeah, and then we have a few miscellaneous battle pets. The wind-up frog is probably going to be a engineering item, and I imagine the rest is stuff that you just find or something of that like. Also, by the way, undulating blue sack is the name of my metal band.
You know what goes? You get a lot of toys and mounts and stuff from though.
Is it the Island Expedition?
Not just that, but through achievements.
Well, that too.
Uh, Speaking of expeditions, there's going to be a lot of titles with the expedition achievements.
They're going to be getting an expedition leader title, as well as a few sort of other things. Now, there's 46 Island Expedition achievements, which is not abnormal. I'm assuming it's going to get its own tab, similar to how Scenarios did and Mr. Pandaria. I actually might be getting a lot of these because I'll be doing Island Expeditions, at least for a while, to get the various items that are stuck to that. None of these seem particularly interesting. The only ones that I'm interested in are the ones that talk about the PvP mode. So you get a complete an Island Expedition to Verdant Wilds in PvP. So this is just more confirming that will at least be adopted quickly enough, because they haven't given us a ton of information on the PvP mode for Island Expedition. And then obviously the other ones, these are just for the Proto-Drake mount. Do any of these Island Expedition things really get you going though, Crimson?
I'll probably do quite a few of them. It all depends too. Like any that, if I have to do them to get titles or mounts or something like that, then I'm gonna be knocking those out, trying to get the titles, toys, and mounts and stuff. But if I probably won't be doing like all of them. If like there's sometimes miscellaneous ones that are just for achievement points.
Do you think you're gonna get the title, or at least go for it?
I'll see if I can. Just depends on how much time I got. I know my main priority as soon as it hits is getting all my tunes to 120.
Yeah, which is obviously a good idea for professions.
And making some gold.
Yeah. Are you a comic book reader, Crimson?
Not really. But I know a lot of people are.
Well, luckily for all those, a lot of people, we have a new Magni Bronzebeard comic. This is Magni the Speaker. Now, I'm going to bless you all with my dwarven voice to get you going on this. Crimson, feel free to jump in on other characters. Let's see, are there any? No, this one is just Magni, so I think the next one has other characters. It used to be... No, that's Russian, sorry. I'm thinking Toblerone. It used to be I could talk to her. I could understand what she was feeling. But after it happened, everything changed. A sword in the darkness, sand soaked in pain, the world burning. This is a little bit chilling. Something I will note, you can see in the second picture, there's sort of a red aura from one side of him. Now, what did you associate red with?
I know a lot of people associate it with the Emerald Nightmare.
Yes, the Emerald Nightmare and Il'gynoth, specifically, an old god. Now, I've been talking about this for a while, but ever since I read the Chronicles Volume 3, I've been biting at the teeth that the expansion following BFA is going to be Old God Disco, and that it'll be an Old God expansion. And I think that Magni Bronzebeard is going to play a clear role in getting us to that, because obviously he is deeply connected with Azeroth, being the speaker of Azeroth. Now, another sort of theory that I have is that when we burn down Teldrassil, inside Teldrassil, There's an old it's inside Teldrassil. There's an old god spirit because Fendrasil, who was the creator of Teldrassil and was trying to make a new world tree, had been corrupted by the Emerald Nightmare to build Teldrassil. So he had clearly infused it with some dark energy. So I think when we burn it down, we release something we weren't ready to release, directly tied to the Emerald Nightmare, and it might be related to Elganoth. That's just what I'm thinking when I see that red glow. What about you, Crimson? Do you think it might just be because he's watching something burn?
It could just be Teldrassil, but burning. But no, it could be old god related. I know. During Il'gynoth and fighting him, he and some of the data mine dialogue, they talk about the King of Diamonds and stuff, which is
Yeah, clearly
commonly
Magni and
performed.
Bronzebeard.
Yeah, so it could be old god related.
Yeah, I'm just saying, keep an eye on that Diamond Dwarf. Now we have another comic book for you if you are a comic fan. This one is Jana Reunion. Obviously covering Jana's reunion. Let's see. And again, this is all done in sort of narrated voice. Crimson, do you have a good female voice? I think you probably do, right?
I do not have a good female voice.
Fine. For your sake, I'll cut in with what Jana sounds like in canon, guaranteed. The selection of Theramore reminds me of past deeds and my failures. I have been told that my sense of empathy was what made me strong. But in the face of annihilation of my people by Garrosh Hellscream, how naive I was to let fairness and tolerance be my only guide. Even before that, I could have ended the horde in Undercity with Varian had I been willing. My desires for peace was my weakness. One the enemy was always happy to exploit. I will never be so foolish again. And this is basically just saying that Jaina's going whole hog, big D, into next expansion, and she is not going to be giving the horde any sort of room to roam around and run. And I think this is very interesting. Jaina's actually probably one of my more favorite. Is that a way to put it? Is probably out of the lore characters that I'm sort of familiar with. She's probably higher up on the list as far as favorites, and that's just because her backstory is so deep and she has so much history. Yeah, I don't know. Crimson? What do you think about this? Any sort of hot deets that we get in this?
Honestly, I think that she's kind of fed up with the horde and stuff, and she's gonna go ham.
Yeah.
I'm personally like more of a Sylvanas fan over a Jaina fan, and so they don't end up killing off Sylvanas.
Yeah.
We lose a war chief every expansion now.
It's what it seems. It's like the new thing. I don't understand. Like, I really don't understand why they killed Vol'jin. Now I do because they didn't want people in the Alliance getting mad when they killed Varian, and they thought if they killed Vol'jin it'd be even. But like they already killed Garrosh the expansion before. Like we had already taken our death. Killing Vol'jin, in my opinion, was a little bit extra. I don't know.
Yeah, they just can't. They're like they gotta throw the Alliance a little bit more love on that.
Yeah, right. What do you think? What do you think the under over is on having a Jaina Sylvanas cat fight?
I think that if anyone fights Sylvanas, it's probably going to be Glenn again, the werewolf.
Yeah, you think that they're going to have another rematch? Because they have fought, Gen Greymane and Sylvanas have fought in Stormheim. There is a sort of quest where you see that. I would like to see a rematch. Now, of course, that is because Sylvanas and the Forsaken were attacking Gilneas originally, and that's why the Gan and his people had to accept the Worgen curse as a way of sort of defending themselves. And there's a little bit more lore there to explain it, but that's basically the gist of that. Yeah, I'm interested. I like these comics. I hope they come out with more. They're nice and short, so it doesn't take a whole long time to read them. But do you know it does take a long time to?
What takes a long time to read, Dab?
You know what? I was lying. It doesn't, because they're cutscenes and they are very quick and they're visual art. Now, anyone who's been playing on the beta is going to be happy that these are here because if you're like me, you've gotten sick of seeing Thrall fire his oh my god laser at Deathwing 100 times, and you're going to be happy to finally see some real cutscenes. So let's just hit right into this, with starting with Sour Fang's Last Stand. We'll watch through it and then we'll give some comments.
Alliance, hold!
No. I demand an honorable death.
My father once said that Varrock Sourfang embodied the honor of the Horde. He admired you for that. And so do I. Listen to me. There is no honor in this.
That is not for an Alliance king to decide.
At this moment, it is. Take him to the stockades. Treat him with the respect he is due. When I return, we will speak of honor, and how it may yet be reclaimed.
If you return.
That was very interesting. Something of note for that is that, well, one, you can sort of actually hearing him say it. Obviously, Anduin is definitely wants to start talks with Sourfang to sort of get them in bed together and to start a sort of coup, I would assume. But something that I had sort of not expected was that Sourfang, he doesn't seem as mad near the end as I had thought. Because when I first sort of read the broadcast text for this, when I heard if he returns, I thought that was like him being pissed and defiant. But like the way he says that, it seems a little bit more playful than I had originally thought. What were your thoughts on that?
I think that like me personally, Sourfang has and the orcs have the way that they do things, and I think Anduin kind of overstepped his bounds a little bit by kind of saying, no, we're not doing that because that's it's not honorable. And when it is honorable for the orcs, that's how they display their honor.
Yeah, I get that.
That makes sense. Yeah. But no. I don't know. I think Sourfang will come back Horde side.
Do you think that do you think there's going to be any collusion there with the Alliance for Sourfang, or do you think he's going to stay defiant till the very end? Now, I will note, we do rescue him from the stockades, and actually, I think it might be included here. But we rescue him from the stockades, but he decides to stay back. But let's just view the escaping the stockades final scene here.
Do not be so hasty now. You can try to subdue us and likely succeed. But do you have time to waste?
No, it can't be.
Seems a mage of your skill could be very useful right now. Hmm?
This isn't over.
Something very interesting about that is it was just weird. Did Jana look really tall in that? I think it might have just been a trick of the brain.
I'm gonna have to go back and double check because now that you say it, no, she doesn't. Because the Xandalari troll right there, he's still like slumped over quite a bit. If you look, he's got all that gold weighing him down.
No, I mean when he's standing in front, when she's standing in front of her, her sort of compatriots. Yeah, I think it might just be a trick. Anyway, I think this is a very interesting cutscene. Of course,
I think it's just because she's further up.
yeah. Of course, this sort of shows that obviously, if you didn't know already, Horde will be burning down Stormwind or trying to. But I think at the speed at which she sort of left, they're probably going to not have that much damage. Also, something of note, Zol the Prophet, who we had seen in this cutscene, is actually going to be a raid boss in Uldar. So clearly things don't work out the best with him. And the next one is the Zuldazar coup.
No! Habutu! Traitor! Seize her!
You should have listened to Telangi. You have grown stagnant, old friend. You let our kingdom rot and decay. But I have foreseen the Troll Empire rising again. No more treaties with outsiders. No more bargains with Loa. Blood is our path now. The path of Gahoon!
Should we go after them?
No. In time, they will come to us.
And that actually is, in my opinion, is probably some of the best evidence we have for Zandalzar raid. Now, of course, these people are also going to be going to Uldir to try to free Cthulhu, and that's how we're going to see them in the raid. But I'm very intrigued. Of course, I was right. There will be a betrayal, and I don't know. That's, of course, how Zul enters the dark side, so to speak. Any thoughts on that one, Crimson?
Well, like you said, was a raid boss, so it was all kind of anticipated anyways. So we'll just have to see it play out. I personally don't play the beta just to kind of experience it when I'm going through it. However, I do reading up on it.
Yeah, of course. We know we have one more in Zuldazar.
Your visions had best be right about.
And by the way, this chick is actually a dungeon boss. She's in one of the dungeons.
Peace.
Heretic!
Also, same with that guy.
Trespass upon sacred ground.
Ah, he arrives. The lower of... What do we call you now?
Mind your tongue, traitor.
Razan. Do you not understand? I am not your subject. And you have no place among kings. The time of the Loa is done. The hour of blood approaches.
Yeah, this I really like this this sort of cutscene here. Now, of course, we can see this is where the Ryzen boss from the King's Rest, is the name of the dungeon, is going to come from. It's sort of interesting to see them sort of abandoning Loa, Loa, even though the Cthulhu, as far as I'm aware, is a Loa. It's sort of a weird, I guess, wording that they have there.
Yeah, I think it's just them kind of throwing down basically the previous, what they believed in, and just saying, hey, this is what we're going with.
Yeah, and of course, it's very interesting. Because previously Zandalar have been the enemies in raids like Throne of Thunder and several raids in the past, and obviously we're going to be working besides the Zandalari now against these new blood trolls. And of more interest, the Alliance is confirmed to be working with the blood trolls when they first get to Zanzibar. And of course, we're gonna have to see how the the blood trolls sort of abandon them or sort of turn their back, stab them in the back. I'm very interested to see how the blood troll alliance thing works out together. And speaking of cutscenes, we actually do have one more. This is the Princess Talaji cutscene.
Showed him, leader of Zandalar. Show the blade
And of course, she's communicating with the spirit of all.
to those that need to see it the most. Give them peace.
This was not my achievement.
You brought the champion to these shores against your father's will. You learned the secrets of Gahun when no one be listening. You set in motion what be needed to save your people. Now more than ever, they be calling for a leader they can love and trust. Show them the blade. Become the symbol they need.
Behold the blood of Gahun. By his will were born the deaths of Shadra, Hyrik, Toga, and Rezan. By his will were born the deaths of so many of our brothers and sisters. Let this glaive be displayed as a reminder that no matter how far we fall, no matter how much we lose, we are Zandalari. We adapt. We find a way to survive. If it were not for this hero of the Horde, our losses would have been far worse. This proves, more than ever, that it is time for us to adapt. To become part of the world again. Zandalar forever!
Of course, she ends up getting nothing from but crickets here. But I think this is a very inspiring speech. I always love it when we get speeches in WoW. Really good things to rile us up, and I'd imagine that we're going to be seeing this there basically before we get ready to enter Uldir and Tech Cthulhu.
So something interesting to note too is she's addressing like you as a player. So the person standing beside of her is by default. So I think that that's just a placeholder in this case, and it will actually be the player character.
I would imagine, yeah. Now, are you gonna go back in time? Are you ready to go back in time, Crimson?
I am ready.
Now, we have to go back in time to get the Magor Orcs, and a lot of people are sort of like, how are we able to do that? Now, what else but time magic? Which we get from the Grand Magistrix Elisand. We're sort of figuring out what we have of it to sort of get our way to Draenor. And the way we actually start it is we have to fight Gul'dan at the Dark Portal. To go back. It's very confusing. Do you understand it, Crimson? Because we have to basically fight echoes of these characters from Warlords of Draenor, like Gul'dan and Garrosh. Of course, both of them not really being characters just from Warlords of Draenor, but they were prevalent in it. But you basically have to fight their echoes, and once you kill their echoes, you can sort of make your way in.
Feels like we've been going back in time a lot.
Yeah, more than I might like. However, I don't know. I think that it's something that they've introduced to the story, and we just kind of have to accept that. I mean, I go back in time like once a week to get all of my raids done.
I do think a lot of people will be doing it though to get their Magor Orcs.
Yeah, the Magor Orcs are wicked cool. If you don't know, Magor Orcs are able to be like their skin tone options are crazy. They have like 15, 16, 17 options because you can be gray, different browns. I love the amount of options they have as far as customization goes. So I totally understand why you'd want to be a mag orc. So I totally get it. And then so they're not just brown orcs, which is a criticism that I've heard before.
No, they definitely have a lot of customization, and that's a really cool feature of them.
Like, if you want to look like Black Hand, you can. It's fantastic. Yeah, I'm really sort of looking forward to that. You know what I'm not looking forward to, though?
All those quests coming up.
That and all of the things that have been added to the GC. Now, something of recently, we learned that things like Lust and Time Warp are going to be removed from the GCD. And that's basically all of the recent changes too.
There are quite a few classes though that have a lot of stuff off the GCD.
Yeah, are there any that really seem like they're going to be detrimental to you?
Well, I'm just gonna have to wait and kind of play it out.
Yeah, I have to agree.
I honestly don't think it's gonna be that big, like as big an issue that people are making it out to seem.
Yeah, the only thing that's really going to change, because I main a priest, the only thing that's really going to change for me as a holy priest is Apotheosis is now going to have a 1.5 second GCD, which a little bit sucks because now it only is a 20 seconds long, so you're cutting in with 1.5 seconds of that, but honestly it's not a big deal. As a caster, it's not really going to change your playstyle. However, it might change playstyle for like maybe a rogue or something. Although rogues are
a lot of the important things, like Shadow Dance and stuff like that, are already off the GCD.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's really going to be too big of an issue.
They really did take on a tall order, though, attempting to sort of totally revamp this GCD system. And I kind of commend them for it at the same time as I'm a little bit annoyed.
The one thing, like, if they're going to take anything and keep it off the GCD, the only thing that I really would never want to see on the GCD if every single other thing was on a GCD is interrupts. Because totally then you're going to be holding your rotation and stuff like that, and I know I got to interrupt this, so I don't want to be GCD'd and not be able to interrupt it.
I totally agree with you.
I'm going to tunnel I can't get the interrupt because I'm on the GCD.
Yeah.
But I want to tunnel DPS because parses.
Yeah, Crimson, you have to. You remember when we did the dwarf comic, the Diamond Dwarf comic.
Magni.
Did you like my voice for Magni?
I did. However, your voice for Jana had me completely cracking up the entire time. Not gonna lie.
You say that like it's a negative. Now,
I didn't say it was like a negative. I was
surprisingly
had me laughing.
Surprisingly, Blizzard has not hired me yet to do the voice for Jana. And we actually got a ton of voiceover audio from important characters. Let's just play through a few. Let's do Jana so we can compare voices. Now, of course, for me it was like, never. The official voice line is,
"Be careful who you trust. We all have..."
See, look at that. She sounds paranoid. Be careful who you trust. Honestly, like, come on, lady. You don't have any sweet tea in your life. A lot of work. We also got some nice Sylvanas voice line.
"What say you, champion? Are you prepared to pursue a new ally? The Maghall..."
As well as honestly, the only character who I really love the voice for is probably Sourfang. And we actually got a fair few.
You're sending our troops to their deaths. We need soldiers on the battlefield to reinforce there must be.
And basically, if you want to listen to all these, you can, but most of it's just a sort of filler dialogue that you get when you talk to someone for the first time, or a lot of the stuff like that. But do you know what's not filler, Crimson?
What's not filler there, Dab?
The war campaigns. The war campaigns are thick. The war campaigns are pretty crazy, in my opinion.
Yeah, they have a ton of quests, too.
Yeah. we're gonna actually be doing this in this is gonna be call it a different segment, the war campaign segment. Welcome to the war campaign segment. We're going to be doing today. We're going to be doing the Alliance war campaign, given that it is now complete, and then next week we're going to be doing the Horde war campaign, given that that's also complete. So make sure to come to the show next week to check that out. It should be near the middle end that we are at now. We have a fair bit. The first war campaign involves establishing a foothold. After you reach a certain level, you will see the War Campaign UI pop up in your quest log, and this actually should be separate from your normal quest, quest count, and it will give you some basic quests. It starts you off by return to Boralus. When you return to Boralus, you get introduced to the new mission table, hopefully with a mission table app, if Crimson gets anything, and you get given the follower, Falstad Wildhammer, which I will say I want some Wildhammer Dwarves Allied Race, but that's here nor there, as well as some war resources, which is basically your new Order Hall resource. On the mission table, you're going to be given a few quests. All your followers start at 120, and you basically get to send them off on these starter quests. It's basically the same as the old mission table thing. Now, where it gets interesting, you get to choose a location to establish a foothold. And you can choose any of the Xantalar zones, and it's similar to picking a place to start your questing. And this will actually allow you to sort of really begin the quest. I like this choice. What about you, Crimson?
I think that, especially when given a choice, I think it definitely makes players want to choose zones, but at the same time, and you'll probably play through them all on like at least one tune.
Oh yeah.
After you see it once, you like subsequent tunes, like you'll be like, I'm gonna do this one zone and call it good.
Yeah. And so
it does give you that option too.
Yeah. And if you choose to go to Zandalzar, you'll get Exbila. Don't ask me what that means. I don't speak French. And you basically get to arrive and help some Dark Iron Dwarves set up a foothold by bringing their mole machines, of course. And you also get a sort of fire slag to blow shit up, which is nice. You get to kill a lot of goblins. Of course, it's not racist or anything. And once you set it up, you're going to be getting the sort of mole machine on the beach. I actually really like this image here of all the mole machines coming out of the beach. I think it's going to be really interesting. And then, of course, you have some Dark Iron Dwarves. There's a Dark Iron Golem. And you should be able to fly to the... Now, if you're going to go to Nazmir, this one you're going to end up actually setting up basically like an adventuring party. And the Nazmir is where you're going to see a bunch of blood trolls. Some mean blood trolls, of course. You're going to be vaguely interested in helping them out and sort of finding Captain Conrad. Captain Conrad, by the way, is the one who is the blood troll sympathizer. And you're going to be building a fort and also receiving a follower, which I think you will be getting from the other ones as well. And this fort is manned by several sort of, as you can see, that's a character in WoW, Crimson, right? The dwarf guy.
I believe so.
Yeah, it's I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but it's Braun. It's Braun Bronzebeard. Yeah, it's one of the Bronzebeard buddies or Bronzebeard brothers, and he's the one who sort of is very interested in archaeology, and this is going to be sort of the setup there. You also have as you can see here, a Blood Elf spy, as well as sort of several other Draenei things. One of the more interesting ones, in my opinion, is the Vol'dun one. You're going to start at Chatterstone Harbor. You're actually going to be, boating there. And you're going to be setting up in sort of what looks to be a pretty traditional desert setting. I'm actually really excited for Vol'dun out of all the places, just because I really like this desert setting.
Yeah, it's a little bit different than what we've had recently. I mean, there was no desert really in WoD or in Legion, so it kind of the last desert we really had was in Cataclysm in Oldham.
Yeah. And now after you've set up all of these 3 footholds and you get to level 120, which hopefully should happen pretty close to in tandem, you're going to be able to get a quest to unite Kaltiris, and this will allow you, once you reach friendly reputation with all the Kaltiran factions, to unlock world quests as well as get a flight whistle, which is nice to see those return.
Yeah, I don't know if you were a big fan of the flight whistle dab, but
I was.
I used it quite a bit, and well, I know we were talking about Goblin Gliders earlier, but I would find the highest point, like I would jump off Dow, Goblin Glide to wherever, and then after that I'd just go on and then use Flight Whistle to get back to town.
I'm happy that they're going to be bringing that back. Now, the next part of the Alliance War campaign is known as Blood in the Sand. And of course, spoilers ahead. This sort of happens all after you unite the Kaltiris, and you unlock this. So this is the sort of Vol'dun part. So basically, at the first round, the first part of it, you unlock all the things, and then these are specific campaigns. Now, and for Blood in the Sands, you're going to start off by sort of getting some accomplices and sort of getting a plan down, and basically preparing your harbor. You get some, what do you call them, covert op agents to help you out. And you're going to comb the desert to sort of look for the horde and destroy any in the area. Then you're going to, once you sort of come across some horde, you're going to of course kill them and receive a map of the Vol'dun area. You're going to have to learn how to survive in Vol'dun, which shouldn't be that hard. You get to do some gyrocopter bombing as well. You blow shit up, and then there's blood in the sand because you blew stuff up. And then you got to move to Nazmir.
Can I pause you for a sec?
Shoot.
There are so many movie references in there.
Oh, of course. You want to knock them?
Blood in the Sand just starred as like that totally Spartacus reference. There's like entire season called Blood in the Sand. Comb the Desert, that's a throwback to Spaceballs.
I was gonna say, yeah, Spaceballs.
But no, that's something that Blizzard definitely does with a lot of quests. I don't know if a lot of people pick up on it, but there are always a ton of movie references in there if you actually look for them.
And of course, then we're going to be moving to Nazmir. Are you a Nazmir guy, Crimson?
Well, I haven't really experienced the zone yet, so I will have to tell you if once it hits live, my favorite zones and stuff.
Yeah. Well. Anyway. Well, while we're there, we're going to basically be tracking down one of Sylvanas' Dark Rangers. And that is sort of the beginning of that. Now let's move into the next part. This is going to be part 3. And we are in Nazmir after completing part 2 of Blood in the Sand. We're going to be tracking down Sylvanas' Dark Ranger. Once we sort of find them, we're going to realize that the Tortellini or Totollan are sort of being hurt, and we're going to be rescuing them from the blood trolls who are sort of attacking them. And we finally managed to track down the Dark Ranger. It is Dark Ranger Ariel, and we're going to be killing it, hopefully, to get a missive. And with the missive, we're basically going to be learning a lot about basically the Horde quest line. And I really like this because you won't have to play both Horde and Alliance for BFA, and it seems like the Horde missive is sort of standing in for the Horde quest line to sort of give you a lot of the information that the Horde has learned, so that you can be sort of aware of it. Then we sort of have to end up targeting one of the Blood Princes, Dreven. And that moves us into the next part. This is when we go back to Boralus, and we sort of tell them what happened. Then we actually go to Zandalzar, Zandalzar being the capital city. We have to disrupt the goblin operations. And this is actually going to be how the Alliance gets into the Motherlode dungeon. So this should probably be, I guess, how the Motherlode dungeon sort of presented to them. We have to disrupt what Gallerix is doing. Of course, we try to kill Gallywix, but he escapes because he's a goblin bastard. Now, the next part, blood in the water, kind of a blood in the sands kind of thing, starts as we're going back to Boralus. Of course, you have to hunt down the Blood Prince, who is deep within the seas. We're going on the high seas to fight. We have to, when we do track him down, we of course kill him. And then we have to go back to Zandalzar, where we enter into the final stage of the Alliance War campaign, which we arrive at Zandalzar, and we sort of get to see all the characters who we had sort of participated in the previous chapters, and have a big hug fest. We sort of begin to build up defenses, and we are then spotted, and we have to hope that we don't die. And that basically wraps up the opening and sort of entering into the other zones for Alliance. And next week we will be bringing you the Horde version of this for your viewing and listening pleasures. And next we have the current segment. Honestly, one of my favorite segments in Raid Radio. You know what that is, Crimson?
You get to hear about all the current things going on that you miss out if you're just staying on the beta.
True that. Also, I'm the type of guy who cares about the now. And you know what isn't the now? Glowcap. It was this week, but you missed it. Did you do Glowcap by any chance?
I did not. I was going to, because I was going to get the rep with the Spore Guard. I think it's people. But nah, I was actually leveling a DK and working on class mounts.
Yeah, excuses. But basically, that was a micro holiday that was up. If you want to do it, you have to wait till next year. I didn't do it either. Didn't seem that important. Now, what is important is the Dark Moon Fair. Crimson can tell you why.
So, Dark Moon Fair, you can get people that are still trying to get rep. I know a lot of people complain, oh, I need rep to get my Void Elf, or I need rep to get the High Mountain Tauren, which super easy to get the rep up anyways, but Dark Moon Fair, you get the rep buff from riding the carousel. Also, something that you can do, since it will be up again before BFA, if you get the little rep tokens from like the World Quest on Argus or off your mission tables and stuff, save them for when the Dark Moon Fair's up. Don't use them right away.
It's up right now too.
Yeah, it's up right now, but whenever it's not up, save your rep tokens when it's up. Get your rep buff, and hey, it's a free 10%. And that might not seem like that much, but when you're talking 5,000 rep worth of tokens or 10,000 rep worth of tokens, that's like another 500,000 rep for free.
Yeah, it's crazy.
There's also the games and stuff, but you can do some fishing and stuff like that.
And the fishing is good gold.
Sells really high.
Yeah, and I don't know for how much longer, which sort of brings us into the next part. There's a lot of things that you need to do before BFA goes, but we're going to focus mostly on things to do if you don't want to go broke in the first 5 weeks of BFA. What are the big ones, Crimson?
So, right now, a real big one right now is go ahead and liquidate your mats. They're only going to go down in value.
And do you think they should liquidate Blood of Sargeras too?
Yeah, go ahead and burn your Blood of Sargeras, see what's going best on your realm. Not only that, but your Primal Sargerite, you can trade those in for gem, or it really depends. You can check your server. Maybe gems are selling higher, maybe ore selling higher.
Yeah.
But see what's selling the highest and buy it and sell it.
And then should
Something
you?
that people don't think about doing is nether shards. Say you have an enchanter. Yeah, just say you have an enchanter. My priest is my enchanter. I I had like 60 or 70,000 nether shards that were just sitting there collecting dust because I have all the toys and all that you can get. So what did I do? I was like, you know what? I can buy these tokens, the Dauntless tokens, turn them in, and then DE them and sell the Chaos Crystals. So that's a way you can
That's smart.
liquidate that.
I'd never even thought about that. It's a really good tip. Also, I'd say if you have a lot of Order Hall resources, of course, do your mission tables. Try to stow away enough to do your mission tables, but also feel free to liquidate your Order Hall resources into Blood of Sargeras and then spend those if it's like a last resort kind of thing. Other things to do to make gold for BFA, although this might not work given what we recently learned about Goblin Gliders. Things like Goblin Gliders and even sometimes some foods like Bear Tartare and things like that sell really well as leveling food. Because, of course, Bear Tartare, it increases your speed after killing something. Anything that you would use leveling, I think stock up on to sell at the first couple days of BFA. Because not a lot of people are going to want to be farming those or making them.
Another thing is while you're leveling, if you don't have professions or if you have a gathering profession, like go ahead and if you don't go out of your way to grab stuff, like if you're trying to focus on getting level cap real quick, but say there's something right there, go ahead and pick it. If you're an herb gatherer, mine it if you're a miner. Skin such stuff that you kill as a skinner because
really
at the start that's gonna sell really high.
Also XP too.
Yeah, you get XP for it minus skinning, and then after that, after the leveling and when the raid is about to hit, if you say you sold some stuff at the beginning to just get some real quick cash because herbs are going to be ridiculously high at the start. But then they're going to drop down a little bit until right before raid starts. So they'll have a huge spike, go down a little bit, and then they'll spike back up. But instead of just selling the herbs, you can also, if you have an alchemist, make potions, flask, because so many people are, this first raid I got to get all the gear I can get. I could care less about professions, and everyone's going to be like that.
Yeah.
So they're like, I'm going to go spend all my gold on braid mats, and I've been guilty of it in the past. Emerald Nightmare, I spent over 2 million gold on flask, potions, augment runes, food, but if you take the time instead of paying 2 million gold, you're getting that 2 million gold.
Also,
and you can easily afford the new dino mount.
That's very true. Also, something to be aware of is try to get the recipes as quickly as possible, because if you can get level 3 or even level 2 early on, that's going to drastically affect how much turnover you're going to be able to get on mats to recipes. Now, Crimson, I'm going to take your word on this. What do you think is a smart move? Selling mats like right at the start of the expansion, or saving all the mats you get and then turning them into pots, or let's say saving all the herbs you get, turning them into pots and stuff for the first raid?
Honestly, I'm going to be doing farming. So what I'm personally going to do is I am going to sell some of the mats at the start just to get a little bit of a gold boost, because I'll probably be spending gold too. But then after that, I'm gonna start farming and actually stockpiling in order to have all the flasks and stuff like that to sell. If you're not going to farm a lot like that, if your main focus is going to be gear and you're just going to get herbs here and there, then your safest bet probably will be just save them as you go, because I'll sit there and throw on a podcast or
like the Raid Radio podcast every Saturday at 4 Eastern Time.
yeah, I've honestly thrown on Raid Radio in the past, just and sat there and listened to it and farmed
Yeah.
herbs for an hour, 2 hours.
Really good idea.
But you like, I can do that, and I'm fine doing that. Not everyone likes to farm like that, though. So if you're not someone that's going to farm like that, and you're just going to pick as you get, you'll get a lot of herbs and get plenty to make flasks and stuff. So if that's your playstyle, then maybe just save them for flask
Yeah.
and potions and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and sell them.
Yeah,
while they're high.
that makes sense. Also, a dab hot tip here. You might do some dungeoneering or whatever early on, and you might get a hot purple BOE drop before the first raid comes out. First off, you're going to want to sell that shit. It might be an upgrade. Maybe it's like a 10 item level upgrade, but early on, those will sell for 1,000,000 gold. And, Crimson can attest to this, because if you're a Mythic Raider and that is good stats for you, and you need it to fill that slot, you're going to go for it.
Yeah, I will 100% agree with you. And the thing is, you're going to replace it as soon as you go into the raid.
You're going to replace it in 5 minutes. You're not going to care about it.
You're going to get it. You're going to be on your first raid night or second raid night or whatever. First, second time in raid, and you're going to be like, oh, got a replacement. And
you
whereas
could have lost 2,000,000 gold or whatever.
Oh, I could have had a mil and a half gold off that. But now, instead of that, I'm getting a vendor price of 20 gold, and there's really no point in it. Just, honestly, if you get a BOE early on, doesn't matter. Like, any BOE I'm going to get, I'm going to sell it.
Yeah, I totally,
just
Crimson's
for that
totally
easy
right.
gold.
It's also, I'm not necessarily talking about, like, if the first raid has a BOE or something and it's a huge upgrade for you. I mean, like, sometimes, and I'm pretty sure they do, they'll have dungeon BOEs or things of that nature. I'm talking about, like, the world drop BOEs that are gold, that are purple for some reason. Because I got one of those at the beginning of WoD, and it was a huge, starting cash flow, a huge nugget. And it's just like I was going to replace it in 5 minutes anyway. But that's sort of my cut on that. Also, a thing of note, the Mage Tower is now up. If you want to get your first appearance on that, that's vaguely important to do before BFA comes out. We probably still have a few more Mage Tower ups before BFA drops, though. So I wouldn't worry too much, but I also wouldn't slack off because it's one of the last ones you're going to see.
Yeah, and going with Mage Tower, that's one of the few things that are going away with the start of that BFA. So if you are wanting to get those, then that's, like I said, it's going away. Go ahead and get it, because you won't have another opportunity. Now, it's just the base appearance, too. So take the, kill Jaden with it. You'll still be able to do that and unlock the appearance. However, your base appearance, if you don't get that, then you can't do the other.
Which Mage Towers have you done?
I haven't done many. I honestly, I'm not focused on getting all the Mage Towers with every tune. Like, I could go and get the Resto Druid one, for example, and I know I can, because when I was 900 eye level, or it might have been 890, on my 6th attempt, I made it to the last phase, and I almost beat it. And I'm 867 on Resto Druid now, and I could fly through it, but I haven't gone back and done it because the staff appearance is kind of, I'm not too concerned with it. But the ones I have done is Disc Priest. I've done the Assassination Rogue one.
Yeah.
I'm actually rocking the Smog. And I've done Shadow Priest and Feral Druid because I like the Glow Kitty.
Yeah, I understand that.
I don't play Feral, but I got it. It's easy enough.
Anyway, without further ado, the segment that everyone's really here for. Do you know what that is, Grim? Of course you do. It's the Transmog segment. I have dropped the Transmog segment link in the chat. if you're interested. Thank you to Ping for drawing this lovely frost logo to indicate that this is currently the Frost Mog. Now, we're going to start off here with the lovable, often imitated Crimson. I like this Mog. I have to say, I really like that sword. Where'd you get that sword from, just out of curiosity?
That is from Tin Man, Eye of Eternity and Wrath of the Lich King. I went in there just to mess around while we were doing some achievements and stuff like that. Because I've been going back and doing the old metas or helping people get old metas. Like I did the Wrath of the Lich King dungeon achievement forever ago, but I knew some people haven't done it, so I was helping them through it. And I went into Eye of Eternity just to go in there, and I saw it. But I couldn't collect the appearance, and I was like, you know what? This looks amazing, and it's Frostweek.
I didn't even know this sword existed. It must have just passed me by. It's really awesome. And here's the thing. This Mog as a whole, take it or leave it. But this sword is awesome. Now, here's what my problem with this Mog is. The shoulder pads. Now, you may like those icicles, but I do not think that they match.
They match with the helm.
No, the helm matches with the sword, but not the icicles.
There's parts of the helm that match with it. There's little crystals in the helm.
I don't know. Let's look at some other angles here. I'll give you the bad angle excuse. Now this one is, you can also see that he's using an offhand item and a beautiful blue azure whelp or something like that. The offhand item I also like. It reminds me a lot of a Naru. I think the offhand item works well. But the shoulders, the white and the gold on the shoulders is still, it's not doing it for me, Crimson. And that's it. That's the only two shots we get. I kind of can see what you're saying. The blue on the helm definitely matches the sword in the offhand. I just think that you should have ditched the shoulders forthright and just went with no shoulders, or went with better shoulders. You get what I'm saying?
Well, we're all entitled to our own opinion.
And you're wrong. Now, who is not wrong? We have, this is supposed to be me coming up, but I will say this is Ping's Mog, and I think Ping did a really good job here. This staff, there's a story behind it. Apparently she had another staff which didn't work the best, but she found this while doing some gallivanting around or whatever people do with their time. And I think the staff...
it was while me and her were doing the meta runs.
Yeah, exactly.
And she saw it and she was like, oh,
I think it works perfect. I think it works perfect. Now, the wrap on the staff is a little bit off, but I think it matches her gloves, so that kind of works. Overall, I don't really have anything bad to say about this monk. I really like the, what's that character's name? The dragon guy?
Terragosa.
Yeah, there we go. He has a staff, too. The Terragosa whelp pet. That's a very cool pet that definitely fits the theme. Let's get a front view here.
Yeah, I was honestly going to use that pet, and then I saw that she had already used it and was like, well, I've got to use a different one.
Yeah, you can see with the front view, better that the sort of staff, it still works. One thing I'd say about this monk, it's very understated. I like it, but it's very understated, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, and will actually be a very good thing for the next week's mod contest. But it is very understated, which is better or for worse. I like it a lot. It's a very traditional dress. Definitely fits the Froth theme. Now we move on to the winner of the contest. Oh, damn it! I
don't know. Didn't you say that last week?
I did. Did I not? Did I announce that you won last? We'll get to that.
Oh no, you didn't.
Anyway, this is my Mog, the winner of this week. As you can see, I use a icicle staff because it's frost. The shoulders are shouldery, and I'm of course on my mage. Now this is sort of I played with a little bit of a disadvantage here because I picked an orc who are traditionally hard to Mog with, given their back surgery problems. But I think I pulled it off well. Do you like the Mog, Crimson?
Yeah, I think you did a decent job mogging.
A decent job? You're supposed to say fantastic, Crimson.
Well, I was told not to lie, so I think you did decent for an orc.
Okay, I'll take it. You know what? I'll give him that orcs do take a little bit of work. Now, Crimson, can we get a little bit of a drum roll? A little bit of a... There we go. Nice drum roll, because we have the winner of last week's mod contest. By popular opinion, which happens to be incorrect, Crimson won the last week's mod contest with his dual Shadow and Light Mog. I really like it. I'm not gonna lie, Crimson, I thought it was a good Mog. Of course, if we were actually just talking about the Discipline staff, weren't we? This is on his back as the Discipline staff.
Yeah, I really liked it. I actually put a decent amount of effort into it.
It definitely seems like it. I mean, just setting up the picture. But yeah, definitely a really interesting Mog. If I had one issue with it, it would probably have to be this. I'm trying to think about what my issue is, because there's always issues in Mogs. Okay, there's a blue crystal on the back of the Discipline staff that doesn't match anything else, but that is so nitpicky. Anyway, you're probably wondering, Dab. Next week is going to be formal. Take that as you will. I'm thinking suit and tie kind of thing. However, not suit and tie. And a slight sub note: it has to be something that your character can wear as a transmog, and not just something that you're putting on. So no putting on a suit jacket and suit shirt. But I'd love to see what your sort of formal / everyday workman shirt is. So basically, it's like everyday wear. What your character might wear when he goes to work or something. What do you think about this mod contest, Crims? You looking forward to next week? The everyday.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Some might say like career.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting
it.
Like
career Mog.
Career Mog. So either that's something like a formal dress, maybe your character like a banker, or if you're more of a workman guy, maybe you have a workman's outfit or something like that. I'm sure you'll all figure it out. We'll see you next week. If you're on YouTube, make sure to subscribe. If you're on Twitch, follow us.